Commander Elias Kane had never expected the message. One moment, he was finishing a routine report aboard the orbital station above Earth. The next, a mysterious notification blinked on his holoscreen. Commander Elias Kane, you have inherited property of immense value. Report to Dock 47. Sol Prime. Immediately. The message contained no signature, no explanation, just coordinates and the word, Titan's Pride. Elias frowned. His modest career in the human space fleet had never brought him wealth or fame. Inheriting a property? That was impossible. And yet, there it was. He contacted the Human Fleet Administration. All they could tell him was, "We have no records of this transaction. But the message is valid. You have clearance to enter. Dock 47. No one else may touch the ship." Curiosity and cautious excitement filled him. He immediately boarded the fastest shuttle available, heading towards Sol Prime. When he arrived, the dock was enormous. Massive hangars stretched farther than his eyes could see. And there, in the center of the dock, was the ship. It was unlike anything Elias had ever seen. The Titan's Pride was a behemoth, a warship of such immense size that the dock itself seemed almost too small. Its hull was dark, sleek, with glowing lines that pulsed faintly like veins of energy. The shape was elegant, yet intimidating. Every panel, every curve, hinted at technology far beyond human design. Elias's heart pounded. Even standing at a safe distance, he felt a strange hum vibrating through the floor. It was as if the ship itself was alive. Waiting. "Commander Kane?" A voice startled him. He turned to see a human engineer approaching a woman he had never met. She wore the standard insignia of the Human Space Fleet Engineering Corps. "I'm Lara Voss," she said, her voice trembling slightly. Elias raised an eyebrow. "Assigned? Who?" Lara shook her head. "I don't know. Orders came from Fleet Command, with your inheritance notification. They told me to report immediately and help you enter the ship." She looked at the Titan's Pride and froze. Her wide eyes reflected the ship's glowing lines. I've never seen anything like this," she whispered. Elias approached cautiously, feeling the hum more strongly now. "Neither have I," he admitted. They both stared in silence. Then, with a deep breath, Elias activated the boarding platform. It extended slowly, a massive structure unfolding from the ship's belly like a giant mechanical arm. As they stepped onto the platform, the hum intensified. Elias could feel it through the soles of his boots. It wasn't dangerous, at least not yet, but it was powerful. And alive. The airlock door slid open with a smooth hiss. The interior of the ship was bright, but not in a harsh way. Lights glowed softly along the walls, illuminating vast corridors that seemed to stretch endlessly. Lara froze again. "It's huge. Bigger than any capital ship I've seen." Elias nodded. "I've read reports of dreadnoughts and planetary-class ships, but nothing like this. This is something else." As they walked deeper into the Titan's Pride, the hum seemed to respond to their movement. Panels shifted slightly, almost as if the ship were observing them. Elias touched one of the walls. It was warm, but solid. The metal felt alive, not with electricity, but with energy itself. "What kind of ship is this?" Lara asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know," Elias admitted. "The message said it's mine. That's all we know." They entered a massive central chamber. Elias stopped in awe. The room was vast, easily the size of a small city square. Holographic displays flickered to life as they approached, showing schematics and systems that neither of them fully understood. Lara's jaw dropped. "Elias, these are not human designs. Look at this circuitry, it's advanced, beyond anything we've ever built. And look at the weapon systems. These could destroy planets." Elias felt a chill. The Titan's Pride was more than a warship. It was a fortress, a city, a weapon, and a living entity, all in one. He took a deep breath. We need to understand it. Carefully. Step by step. They moved to a console. As Elias touched it, the lights around them pulsed brighter. Then, a soft, deep voice echoed through the chamber. Commander Elias Kane, authorized. Lara froze, staring at him. Did the ship just speak? Elias swallowed. It seems, it recognizes me. The voice continued, calm and steady. I am Titan's pride. I am ready to serve the one who inherited me. Elias's mind raced. This was no ordinary ship. It was intelligent, self-aware, and it recognized him as its commander. He turned to Lara. We need to be careful. If this ship is sentient, we can't just treat it like a tool. We have to learn it. Work with it. Lara nodded, though she still looked shaken. I don't know if I can process all of this. It's bigger than anything we've faced, Elias finished for her. Yes. But we are humans. We'll figure it out. Their first exploration continued cautiously. They discovered chambers filled with alien-like technology, energy cores that seemed to hum with life, weapons that could obliterate fleets, and mysterious devices whose purpose they could only guess at. Every step made Lara more silent, more frozen in awe. Commander, she said finally, breaking the silence. If this technology is alien, why is it connected to human systems? Why would it recognize us? Quote, Elias shook his head. I don't know. But whoever built this must have believed humans were capable of commanding it. That's remarkable. As the hours passed, they began mapping the ship, carefully testing systems without activating the weapons. They found that the Titan's pride could respond to thought patterns, adapt to human commands, and even anticipate potential threats. Elias realized something profound. This ship, it's not just a weapon. It's a partner. And it trusts us. But the calm was short-lived. As word spread about Elias's inheritance, rumors began circulating in the colonies. Aliens, mercenaries, and rival human factions all began taking notice. The Titan's pride was no longer just an inheritance, it was a prize. Elias looked out from the observation deck, seeing the stars stretch endlessly before him. This is bigger than I imagined, he said quietly. Lara stood beside him, still trying to comprehend everything. We might be in over our heads, she whispered. Elias put a hand on her shoulder. Maybe. But humans have always faced the impossible and found a way. We'll learn this ship. We'll master it. And we'll show the galaxy what humanity can do. As they stood together, the hum of the Titan's pride resonated through the chamber, almost like a heartbeat. It was alive. It was powerful. And it had chosen them. Somewhere in the distance, in the dark void of space, other eyes began to watch. Word of the Titan's pride would reach far and wide. And soon, Elias and Lara would face challenges that would test not just their skill, but humanity itself. But for now, they were the commanders of the largest warship ever built, standing at the threshold of a new era. And as they took their first steps inside, the human engineer could only stare in frozen awe, because she had never seen anything like it in all her life. The Titan's pride was awake. For hours, Commander Elias Kane and engineer Lara Voss had wandered through its endless corridors, learning its strange rhythms and observing its quiet hum. But now, as Elias prepared to power up the ship's core systems, something shifted. The pulsing lines along the walls grew brighter. The air seemed to vibrate with energy. Elias, Lara said, her voice tense. I've never seen anything respond like this. The systems, they're reacting to us. It's like the ship is alive. Elias nodded. I know. And if it is, we have to respect that. One wrong move, and we could trigger a system we can't control. At the central control hub, Elias activated the primary console. The holographic displays flickered to life, showing star charts, weapon schematics, and systems he didn't even know humans could build. Wow, Lara breathed. These weapons, they're incredible. They could wipe out an entire fleet in minutes. Elias frowned. We're not here to use them recklessly. We need to understand the ship first. Learn it. Work with it. He reached for the neural interface, a strange console that allowed a human to connect with the ship's systems. When he touched it, a flood of information streamed into his mind. Star maps, energy flows, tactical simulations, even fragments of past battles fought by the ship. Lara watched him carefully. Elias, how are you? Seeing all that, I don't know, he admitted, blinking rapidly. It's like the ship is showing me everything. Memories, knowledge, and it's teaching me. A calm, resonant voice filled the chamber. Commander Elias Kane. Recognized. Authorized. Core activation sequence initiated. Commander, Elias took a deep breath. I am ready. Acknowledged. Warning. Defensive protocols remain active until full synchronization is complete. Caution advised. The ship shuddered slightly. Like a living being taking its first breath. The walls vibrated softly, and lights danced along the corridors. Lara took a cautious step forward. Commander, it's reacting to you, she whispered. I can feel it too. Yes, Elias replied. It's listening, learning us, and trusting us. They began running system checks, carefully testing the ship's functions without triggering its weapons. Every control they tried adapted to their commands, almost anticipating their thoughts. It was as if the Titan's pride had a mind of its own, but one that could align with human intelligence. Hours passed. Elias and Lara grew more confident, learning how the ship moved, how it handled power distribution, and how its advanced shields could absorb incredible amounts of energy. Then, the first sign of danger appeared. A sensor pinged in the distance, an unidentified vessel approaching human space. The ship's AI, now fully responsive, displayed tactical information. The readings were unlike anything Elias had seen. Fast-moving energy signatures, multiple small vessels moving with precision, and an unknown technology pattern that resembled no human or known alien system. Commander, Lara said, pointing at the display. These ships, they're watching us, and they're fast. Very fast. Elias leaned closer, analyzing the data. We don't know their intentions yet, but we can't ignore them. Titan's pride. Assess threat level. Threat level. High. Hostile intent probable. Weapons systems online. Suggest defensive maneuvers. Elias nodded. Prepare defensive protocols. But no offensive actions yet. I want to understand them first. Lara hesitated. Elias. These ships are closing in fast. If they attack, then we'll be ready. Elias interrupted firmly. Human ingenuity isn't measured by the size of the weapon. It's measured by strategy, adaptation, and courage. Titan's pride. Engage stealth shields. Let's see how they react. The ship hummed louder. Energy flowed through its systems, and the massive hull began to shimmer, bending light around it like a ghost. From outside, the approaching vessels slowed, confused by the sudden disappearance of the Titan's pride on their sensors. Impressive, Lara said, eyes wide. It's like the ship is alive. And thinking with us. Elias smiled faintly. That's exactly what it is, and that's exactly why humans can master it. Alien technology or not, the human mind adapts. We observe, learn, and improvise. That's why we survive, and why we fight back. The unknown ships eventually retreated, but Elias knew this was only the beginning. Whoever was watching had now identified the Titan's pride as a target. Humanity's reach into the stars had just drawn attention that could become deadly. Over the next few days, Elias and Lara worked tirelessly. They synchronized fully with the ship, learning how to operate its complex AI interface, manipulate its weapon systems safely, and even communicate with it as if it were a living crew member. "Commander Kane," the ship's voice said one evening, "human adaptability is remarkable. Your species' ingenuity surpasses expectation. Trust is mutual." Elias chuckled softly. "You're going to make a fine ally, Titan's pride. Together, we can face anything." Lara looked skeptical. "Anything? Elias, do you realize what we're dealing with? This ship alone could start a war or end one. And now that others know it exists, they'll come." Elias nodded gravely. "I know, but humans have never backed down from impossible odds. That's who we are. That's why Titan's pride chose us." Soon, they began training with the ship in simulated scenarios. The AI would challenge them with complex tactical situations, mimicking alien fleets and unpredictable hazards. Elias learned quickly, using creativity and strategy rather than brute force. Lara adapted too, designing innovative solutions to optimize the ship's capabilities. One night, as the ship hovered silently in orbit above Sol Prime, Lara finally admitted, "Elias, I froze when I first entered this ship. I thought we could never control it. But now, I see why it's with us. We're human. We think differently. We adapt. We survive." Elias placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Exactly. This is what makes humans special. Alien tech, advanced weapons, sentient AI. It doesn't matter. Humans will always find a way. That's why the galaxy underestimates us. Until we show them." Just as they spoke, the sensors detected a new signal. Faster, sharper, more deliberate than before. A fleet was on its way, no longer cautious, no longer probing. They were coming for the Titan's pride. Elias looked out into the dark void of space, feeling a familiar thrill. "So, the real test begins. Lara, we're going to show them what humans can do." The ship pulsed in response, like a heartbeat growing stronger. "Confirmed. Human command acknowledged. Ready for engagement. Work in Reddervine." The ship pulsed in response. Lara took a deep breath. "I'm still scared." Elias smiled. "Good. Fear keeps us sharp. But remember, we're humans. We'll think, adapt, and win. This is what we do." As the alien fleet approached, the Titan's pride seemed to awaken further, its systems humming with energy, lights glowing along the massive hull, ready to respond to the human minds commanding it. And in that moment, Elias realized something important. The Titan's pride was not just a weapon, not just a warship. It was a testament to human ingenuity, courage, and determination. The galaxy had never faced humans like this before, and the humans inside the Titan's pride were ready to prove why no one should ever underestimate them. The first battle was only a matter of hours away, and when it came, humanity would not fight alone. They had the largest, most advanced warship ever built, and they had their minds, their courage, and each other. The awakening was complete. The Titan's pride and its human crew were ready, and the galaxy would never be the same. The stars were calm, but the void beyond Sol Prime simmered with danger. Commander Elias Kane stood on the observation deck of the Titan's pride, watching the distant glimmers of approaching vessels. The alien fleet, faster and more numerous than anything humanity had ever faced, advanced with precision, clearly intent on seizing the warship. Lara Voss approached him, her face tense but resolute. "They're coming faster than we expected. Our stealth measures only delayed them for so long." Elias nodded. "Good. That delay gave us time to learn the ship, to think. Humans have always been underestimated in battle, Lara. And that's exactly what we'll use to our advantage." Lara frowned. "Elias, these ships, their technology is unlike anything we've seen. Their weapons can destroy entire stations in a single strike. Then we won't face them the way they expect," Elias said firmly. "Titan's pride is not just a weapon, it's alive, and it can think with us. That's our edge. That's why humans survive, because we adapt." The AI's voice filled the chamber, calm and resonant. Commander Kane. Incoming fleet identified. Threat level. Extreme. Tactical suggestions available. Shall I proceed? Yes, Elias replied. But we won't just follow your suggestions. We'll combine them with human strategy. Let's see if they can anticipate us. Lara's eyes widened. You're going to fight them our way? Yes, and it will work. The Titan's pride hummed with energy. Lights pulsed along the hull, shields flaring like a heartbeat. The alien ships were now within range, scanning for the invisible giant that had eluded them moments before. Suddenly, the first wave of alien fighters accelerated toward the planet, thinking the human ship would remain hidden. Elias tapped into the ship's controls, blending its advanced AI predictions with his own human instincts. Titan's pride, he said. Deploy energy decoys and reroute shields. Let's make them believe we are somewhere else. Confirmed, the AI replied. Within seconds, dozens of shimmering holographic images of the Titan's pride appeared across the sector, each one moving convincingly as if real. Alien sensors detected multiple targets and slowed, uncertain which ship was genuine. Now, Elias said, prepare for strike. Lara worked at the console, rerouting the ship's energy to its advanced plasma cannons. Elias, if this works, we could disable half their fleet before they even know it. The Titan's pride fired with precision. Beams of concentrated energy streaked across the void, striking alien vessels with surgical accuracy. One by one, enemy fighters were destroyed or forced into retreat. The humans' combination of ingenuity and adaptive tactics left the alien commanders struggling to respond. Elias watched the chaos unfold, heart pounding with adrenaline. They can't anticipate human thinking. That's the difference. We improvise. We adapt. That's why we survive. Lara smiled despite the danger. And it's working. Look at them, they're confused, disorganized. This is incredible. The alien fleet regrouped, sending in a larger wave, determined to overwhelm the Titan's pride. Elias knew brute force alone would not win this battle. They needed strategy. Titan's pride, he commanded. Initiate orbital maneuver around Sol Prime. Use planet's gravity for trajectory advantage. We'll hit them from angles they can't predict. Trajectory calculated. Preparing systems. The ship's massive engines roared, propelling the warship in a graceful arc around the planet. Alien sensors misread the movements, believing the ship to be retreating, and when the fleet adjusted, the Titan's pride struck with devastating force, unleashing concentrated plasma volleys that crippled the alien ships. Elias turned to Lara. See? Humans don't just fight with weapons. We fight with brains. Lara laughed, adrenaline sharpening her mind. Brains, courage, and one incredible warship. Hours passed in a blur of strategy and combat. Every time the aliens adapted, Elias and Lara combined their intuition with Titan's pride's AI, predicting moves and countering attacks in ways the alien commanders could never imagine. The massive warship moved like a living entity, responding instantly to human commands. Finally, after a prolonged engagement, the alien fleet began to retreat. Their remaining ships scattered into the void. Unable to overcome the humans' unexpected tactics, Titan's pride glowed softly, shields pulsing in rhythm with its calm, powerful hum. Elias exhaled, leaning against the observation deck railing. We did it. They underestimated us. They thought a single human crew couldn't handle this ship. They were wrong. Lara nodded, still catching her breath. We didn't just survive. We won. And it wasn't just the ship. It was us. Humans. Elias smiled. Exactly. This is what HFY is all about. Human ingenuity, courage, and unity. Alien technology may be powerful, but humans are unpredictable, adaptive, and relentless. That's why we always have a chance. The AI spoke again, its tone almost reflective. Commander Kane. Human tactics proved superior to predicted outcomes. Trust confirmed. Victory achieved. Good, Elias said. But this is only the beginning. Others will hear of the Titan's pride. Others will come. We need to be ready. Lara glanced at him. Do you think humanity is ready for this? For the attention we're about to get? Elias looked out into the stars, where the first traces of distant fleets could be seen. We have to be. Humans have always faced impossible odds. And every time, we find a way. This ship, this victory, it proves we belong in the galaxy. And we're not just surviving. We're leading. Over the following days, Elias and Lara worked tirelessly to strengthen the Titan's pride, not just as a weapon, but as a symbol. Colonies sent crews to learn from them, and intelligence reports from across human space recognized the significance of their victory. Humanity's reputation had shifted. No longer merely a fledgling spacefaring species, humans now commanded attention and respect. One evening, as the two stood on the observation deck together, Elias said quietly, "You know, Lara, I inherited this ship by chance, but it chose us. It knew humans could make it more than a weapon. We turned it into a partner, a protector, a symbol." Lara smiled. "And it only proves what we've always known. Humans can face the impossible, adapt, and overcome. Even when the odds are against us." Elias nodded. "Exactly. Alien fleets, ancient technology, threats across the galaxy. Nothing can stop a human mind determined to survive, to protect, to lead." The hum of the Titan's pride filled the chamber, steady and reassuring. Its systems were powerful, but its strength lay not just in weapons or shields, it lay in the humans guiding it. As the sun rose over Sol Prime, casting light across the massive hull of the Titan's pride, Elias and Lara knew this was only the beginning. Humanity's reach into the stars had expanded, and the galaxy had learned a new lesson. Never underestimate humans. They were inventive, fearless, and united. With the Titan's pride at their command, they were unstoppable. And somewhere, far beyond the light of Sol Prime, other civilizations would begin to whisper about the humans who had inherited a warship unlike any other, and had triumphed through courage, strategy, and the indomitable human spirit. Elias turned to Lara, a determined gleam in his eyes. "This is our future. Humans will shape the galaxy, not by fear, but by ingenuity, courage, and determination. Titan's pride is just the beginning." Lara nodded. "And I can't wait to see where we take it." Together, they stood on the deck of the largest warship ever built, knowing they had not just inherited a weapon, they had inherited a legacy of human resilience, creativity, and courage that no alien fleet could ever match. The Titan's pride pulsed softly beneath their feet, alive and aligned with its human crew. Humanity had triumphed, and the galaxy would never forget it.